Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, dear sisters and brothers, we will try to continue the discussions on monetary policy, expansionary and contractionary actions. Uh, as we learned before, we talk about monetary policy, we talk about money supply. So what make the money supply change? So the first, the Fed can shift the aggregate demand curve when it changes its monetary policy. So when monetary policy changes, so it will shift the aggregate demand curve. Yeah, an increase in the money supply shift the money supply curve to the right. So the increase of money supply will influence the supply of money curve to the right. And in the interest rate falls, and the falling interest rate increase the quantity of goods and services demanded. Yeah, the concept that you learned before. So we have here interest rate in the vertical axis, and you have quantity of money in the horizontal axis. And here you have a money demand, yeah, as the negatively slopes, and you have the money supply vertical, and you have the vertical of money supply. And note that expansionary monetary policy can be described as an increase in the money supply or as a cut in interest rate. So when the central bank increase the money supply, it will move the money supply to the right. So the shift to the right will make the interest rate falls from the R1 to the R2. Because of the interest rate falls, so it will make the demand for uh, money increases. So it will make the quantity of money demanded increase from this one to this one. Yeah. And these conditions called expansionary monetary policy because the central bank add the more money supply in the economy. And the next one is here you can see that expansionary monetary policy here will affect the aggregate demands. Yeah. And you can see from the first condition here, we have interest rate and we have the quantity of money. And you have the initial equilibrium of money supply and money demand have here, yeah. And for at these conditions, you have the equilibrium of the prices here, and you have the equilibrium of the y here, the y1. And once the money supply increases to the right, so it will make the interest rate falls, yeah, and it will make the quality of money demanded increases here. So these conditions, yeah, will make the aggregate demand here shift to the right, yeah, shift to the right because of falling in interest rate. So falling of interest rate here will make the aggregate demand here increase to the right, shift to the right, and it will make the increase in the national income of goods and services. So the conclusion is when the money supply increases, yeah, that is here, shift to the right, so it will make the interest rate falls and it will increase the investment. So when the investment increase, so of course here consumer consumption, investment, spending and net export increases, or aggregate demand curve shift to the right. And when the money supply goes down, the reverse happens. And we move back to the contractionary monetary policy here. So you have initial equilibrium here, money supply and money demand here, the R1. And note that contractionary monetary policy can be described as the decrease in the money supply or as a hike in interest rate. So because of the money supply here decreases, so it will shift to the left. So the money supply shift to the left, so the interest rate increases from the R1 to the R2. So for sure, because the interest rate increases here, it will make the quality of money demanded will decreases. Because the increase of interest rate, it means that additional cost will be beared uh, by the lenders. So it will decrease or reduce the or the intention for lending money here. So when the Fed increases the money supply, it lowers the interest rate and increase in the quantity of goods and services demanded at any given price level, shifting aggregate demand to the right. Yeah, but the way around, when the Fed reduces the money supply, it raises the interest rate and reduces the quantity of goods and services demanded at any given price level, shifting aggregate demand to the left. Yeah. And the next one, so when the Fed changes the money supply, it also changes the interest rate. Therefore, the Fed's monetary policy can be described by the money supply or by the interest rate. So, if the Fed here changes the money supply, printing more money or reducing printing the money, so it will cause to the interest rate. So, expansionary monetary policy here equals to the money supply increase or interest rate falls. You can see here the shift to the right, yeah. And contractionary monetary policy equals to the money supply decreases or interest rate falls. So here, money supply shift to the left. Yeah. So the rule of interest rate target in the Fed policy. So monetary policy can be described either in terms of money supply or in terms of the interest rates. Changes in monetary policy can be viewed either in terms of changing target for the interest rate or in terms of change in money supply. So a target for the federal fund rates or the central bank rate affects the money market's equilibrium, which influence aggregate demands. So when the money supply and demand changes, of course, the equilibrium will be changes. So the changes of this equilibrium will impact the central bank rates, and this central bank rate correlate with the money market interest rate. So for sure, the money market interest rate here connects with the aggregate demands. Yeah, because aggregate demand here relates with the good and services, whereby connecting with the money markets. Yeah, because the good and services here somehow is financed by the money markets. Okay, here, but this expansionary monetary policy has criticisms. This shows that expansionary monetary policy is less successful in reducing interest rate when money demands is flatter. Yeah, flatter here, flat. Here, the blue one here. Yeah, the blue one here. So the flat, not not steep. Yeah, not steeper. In extreme case, if the interest rate reaches to zero, lower bounds, expansionary monetary policy would no longer work. So in the case of reaches to zero means that here the money supply, the first initial here is the blue here, yeah, the dark blue, yeah, and here the impacts. And if the move to the right, expansionary here will make the interest rate falls. But if um the money demand here flatter, yeah, not steep as this one, so the money supply increases to the right, will have a less impact. Here the impact, the same impact but less interest rates. Yeah, so the criticism here, the impact of expansionary monetary policy depends on what extent the slope of the money demands. So monetary stimulus, yeah. So the Federal Reserve did all it could, but the federal fund rate could not be reduced below zero. So here the Fed rate, central bank rate here, almost zero. Yeah. So why the central bank cannot be reduced below zero? Because this fund rate is a signal for the monetary policy. Yeah. So if it is zero, below zero, it means that the monetary policy is no longer effective at all. Yeah. So the critic of expansionary monetary policy have also argued that even if an increase in the money supply succeeds in reducing the interest rates, the falls in the interest rate may not lead to an increase in investment spending-based business because the slope the um, of the money demand is not uh, is not steep, not steeper as before, or the in here you can say flatter, yeah, flatter. Why business investment spending is heavily influenced by optimism or pessimism? Interest rate here play a minor role. Yeah. Okay, that's all for the monetary policy course. Thank you for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.